Democrats are freaking out as Donald Trump continues to rise in the polls. A clip from a speech from a year ago has resurfaced where Donald Trump says,
"And for those who have been wronged and betrayed, I am your retribution. I am your retribution. Not going to let this happen."
What does he mean when he says, "I am your retribution"? We're going to talk about that this week on Wolves in Finance. Let me start by saying I don't know Donald Trump. I've never talked to Donald Trump, so I don't really know what his plans are. But as you know, I've been covering a lot of these stories closely. So this is my opinion on what is likely to happen if Donald Trump becomes president. The best place to start is to really understand what the Democrats are worried about. They think Trump is going to get revenge. Here's what they're saying on a show called The View.
So you said recently that you thought that you, as an outspoken critic, could be a target yourself. Some people think that sounds overdramatic, but I'm right there with you. I think that he is so vindictive that he will go after, however he has to, through the IRS maybe, or even through sponsors to get us off the air maybe, or you. Yeah.
They think that Trump is going to take The View off the air. Really? I think that would be a reason to vote for Trump.
I think it's bad to have somebody saying, give me as much power as you can in this country so I can use it to go after other Americans, so I can use it to go after these subhuman internal enemies and I'll destroy them. Like, that's just not a good system.
This is Rachel Maddow, who says she is worried that Donald Trump will use the government to go after fellow Americans. Now, hold on a second. Isn't that exactly what the Democrats are currently doing? They are charging Donald Trump in multiple lawsuits, attempting to throw him in jail. They are throwing in jail the people who worked with Donald Trump, like Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro. They are prosecuting Donald Trump supporters over the January protest at the Capitol. Over 1,000 people have been targeted, many of whom simply walked through the building. At every level, the Democrats have weaponized the government to go after their political opponents. So when they say they are worried about Trump's revenge, what they're really saying is they are worried that Trump will do what they are currently doing. The Democrats are currently getting revenge against anyone who speaks out against them. They realize that they shredded the Constitution under Joe Biden, and now they're scared to turn over power. What I find really curious is how conservative-leaning news media has responded to this.
Enough with the revenge talk. Instead, focus on incentives so these losers don't try this crap again.
I think vengeance is a horrible idea, and this administration, if there is another Trump administration, they should rise above it.
My question is a very serious one. People are claiming you want retribution. People are claiming you want what has happened to you done to Democrats. Would you do that ever?
Look, what's happened to me has never happened in this country before, and it has to stop because...
Wait a minute. I want to hear that again. It has to stop.
I want to play what if with you for a minute. What if when you win this election, you said, enough is enough? Too much is too much. This is a race to the bottom, and it stops here. It stops now.
So all these people are begging Trump not to get revenge. Does anyone else think that the blowhards at Fox News should get a spine? Let me know in the comments what you think, because I would like just one person to stand up and say, yes, let's get revenge. Let's get all the revenge. So many people's lives have been destroyed because they were the wrong political party. And it's still going on. Everyone who was involved in weaponizing the government should be held accountable. If you want to call that revenge, then that's what we need. I think we need to be clear about what's going on. The Democrats are calling for Trump not to commit revenge while they are trying to put him in jail. Isn't that a little hypocritical? It would be one thing if the Democrats stopped all the trials and said, okay, we got carried away, We're not going to weaponize the government anymore. We want you to agree to that as well. But that's not what's happening. They are continuing to abuse their power while telling Trump that he shouldn't. Just to use an example, this is like if you were a kid on a playground and a bully was beating you up and punching you in the face. As they're punching you, they want you to promise not to get revenge. This is ludicrous. Unless you do something, that bully is not going to stop. Let me use another analogy. I like to think of the president as a bus driver. Congress is like a bunch of bratty teenagers riding in the bus. They're going wild and acting out. What Trump should do is take the troublemakers and put them in timeout. Unless Trump does something, the situation on that bus is not going to get better. For anyone who's watching, who's either had kids or had to manage kids, let me know in the comments if I'm right about this. Donald Trump needs to put someone in timeout. So what I've done is I've made a list of people. These people have destroyed so many lives, and the American people are going to demand some level of fairness and at least investigate what they did wrong. Number 1 on the list is Dr. Fauci. Dr. Fauci lied and people died. It's that simple. We need to go through the pandemic step by step, and if Dr. Fauci lied and people died as a result, he belongs in prison. Number 2 is Alejandro Mayorkas, the Secretary of Homeland Security. The government has documented 8 million illegal immigrants who have entered this country illegally during Joe Biden's presidency. The real number is much higher than this because there are obviously people coming across that we don't even know about. This is happening because Alejandro Mayorkas is ignoring the laws to control the border. There are plenty of laws that Congress has voted on that he is required to do, and he's just ignoring them. As a result, we are seeing more and more stories about Americans being raped and murdered by illegal immigrants. People are dying because Mayorkas is intentionally breaking the law, and he needs to be held accountable. Number 3 is Merrick Garland, the U.S. Attorney General. He has currently been voted in contempt of Congress. It's very simple. That requires you to go to jail. Number 4 is Hunter Biden. We have all seen the videos of him committing horrible crimes, but for some reason, he is always protected. The easiest way to hold Hunter Biden accountable is to send him to jail for his tax crimes. It's been widely reported that the Department of Justice has let his tax crimes drop because of the statute of limitations. But what about his recent taxes? We have all heard about these paintings that he sold for millions. Did he report all that income and pay taxes on it? I think there should be an investigation. What about selling his company to his own personal lawyer, Kevin Morris? Any transactions related to that sale should be reported as income, and Hunter Biden has to pay taxes on it. Did he do that? I think there should be an investigation. So that's just 4 blatant examples of illegal activity. If Donald Trump becomes president, I would expect him to hold them accountable. I think Merrick Garland said it best himself when he said that no one is above the law.
Look, no person is above the law in this country. Nothing stops us.
Even a former president.
I don't know how to, maybe I'll say that again. No person is above the law in this country. I can't say it any more clearly than that. There is nothing in the principles of prosecution, in any other factors which prevent us from investigating anyone who's criminally responsible.
Speaking of Merrick Garland, number 5 on my list is everyone involved in the weaponization of the government. That includes the Department of Justice, the FBI, and even local judges like Judge Juan Merchan in New York. Juan Merchan just oversaw the criminal trial against Donald Trump over falsified business documents. The trial has been widely criticized as being crooked. This judge is not even a real judge. He's just an acting judge. So how did this acting judge end up being in charge not only of Trump's case, but also the case against Trump's CFO and Steve Bannon. It is statistically impossible that this one judge would randomly get all the Trump cases. Meanwhile, the judge's daughter is receiving millions of dollars from prominent Democrats. It looks like something illegal is going on. This judge should be investigated. Number 6 is the CIA. The CIA, under law, can only operate in foreign countries. They're not supposed to use their spy tools to target Americans. If they were involved in domestic affairs in any way, they should be prosecuted. For example, if they were involved in the cover-up of the Hunter Biden laptop, the protests at the Capitol, involvement during the pandemic, or social media censorship, if they're involved in any of those things, that is illegal. Why are they doing that? Number 7 is the January 6th committee. As soon as the Republicans won the House, the January 6th committee disbanded and destroyed all their evidence. Isn't that strange? Why would you destroy all the evidence of what you claimed happened? Unless the evidence contradicts your story. I think there should be an investigation to find out if the January 6th committee tried to cover up what actually happened. Number 8 is Mark Milley. He was formerly in charge of the military at the end of Trump's presidency. It has been well documented that he called China twice to assure them that Trump would not attack China. Donald Trump had no knowledge of this. Now, Mark Milley claims these were normal calls, but I'm sorry, that's a lot of baloney. That sounds to me like treason. The military cannot make decisions on foreign policy without the president. I don't know what's going on in the military, but there should be some investigation to make sure that the military leaders are not committing treason. Number 9 is social media companies. This has been a battle for some time now, where Republicans are getting banned on social media while liberal news sources get boosted. There are court battles where there is evidence that shows social media companies are violating Americans' freedom of speech. There needs to be an investigation and steps put in place to hold social media companies accountable. Stop taking away our freedom of speech. And number 10 is the big guy, Joe Biden. Joe Biden is currently under impeachment inquiry for his crimes against the American people. The evidence gathered so far is shocking. At the very least, it shows that he has consistently lied to the American people, claiming that he did not participate in his son's business dealings. That was a blatant lie. But what is more likely from the evidence is that Joe Biden committed treason by taking money from foreign governments, many of which are America's enemies. We still have not received any explanation why Hunter Biden received $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow's wife, and then later, she was one of the few Russian oligarchs spared from sanctions when Russia went to war against Ukraine. That sounds to me like corruption. But there is more. We also need an investigation into Barack Obama. There are still unanswered questions about his birth certificate. If you remember, Barack Obama gave a press conference when he released his birth certificate.
We've posted the certification that is given by the state of Hawaii on the internet for everybody to see. People have provided affidavits that they, in fact, have seen this birth certificate, and yet this thing just keeps on going.
Did you notice that he never said the statement that the birth certificate was real? He said the Hawaii officials certified that he was born there. So Obama himself won't even say that the certificate is real. Isn't that strange? Well, if you look at the document, it's obvious it is a fraud. I have another video where I break down all the reasons for this, which I will link down below. But it's not difficult to show that this document is a fraud. Trump needs to demand that Obama show his birth certificate. If Obama posted a fake, where is the birth certificate? All the chaos happening in our country today goes back to that one big lie. Think about it. If the birth certificate is fake, Obama was never eligible to run for president. Now, I know that people will say, why does this matter? It was so long ago. It's not like we can go back and stop Obama from being president. But what we can do is stop paying for his retirement. Many people don't know about this, but there's an obscure law called the Former President's Act. This gives the president an ongoing salary for the rest of his life. As of last year, this was $226,300 per year. It also gives Secret Service protection for life. It provides money to hire staff for an official office, and it gives the former president $1 million for travel expenses each year. If Obama lied and was never eligible to be president, he should not be receiving any of this. Why are we paying him? Let him pay for his own Secret Service. There needs to be a full investigation of Barack Obama's birth certificate. He could not have done a cover-up on his own. Who else was involved? Likely the governor of Hawaii and the head of the Department of Health. We need to know what happened so this does not happen again. And these people need to be held accountable. We also need to investigate Michelle Obama. There are a number of rumors that she has also lied about her past. Under the Former President's Act, she also receives $500,000 each year for travel and security. If she's lying about her past to get this money, that's fraud. An enormous amount of fraud that is happening right now. The law says $500,000 for the spouse of each former president each fiscal year for security and travel-related expenses. The word spouse has a specific technical legal definition. So for instance, if Michelle Obama is lying about her past, and let's just say she was never legitimately married to Barack Obama, she's not entitled to receive any of this money. I think we should demand an investigation into Michelle Obama before she receives any more taxpayer dollars. Now, I can hear all the liberals crying who are watching this video saying, "You cannot prosecute a former president." To that I would respond, what are you doing? Why don't you stop prosecuting Trump? And look, Trump's a nice guy, and I actually think he would pardon Joe Biden and Obama if they were ever convicted. He didn't go after Hillary Clinton, even though he could have, but that is Trump's choice. Whether these people go to prison or not, what is really important is that we have the trials for each of them. Trump may pardon them all, but the American people need the trial so we can get to the truth of what happened. When South Africa went through apartheid, they jailed Nelson Mandela for 27 years. He was the leader of the black community in South Africa. When he was released in 1990, he became the country's first black president and began the process of ending the country's horrible practices of segregation. A big part of this process was the creation of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. They would hold public trials of gross violations of human rights. People who gave testimony could request amnesty from both civil and criminal prosecution. Even though most of these people were completely forgiven for their horrible crimes, the trial was what allowed the community to start to heal. We need something similar in the United States. People's lives have been so devastated, we can't just sweep everything under the rug and expect people to be able to move on. We need the truth about what happened. People need to say they're sorry and promise never to do it again. So will Donald Trump get revenge? I think he will hold people accountable, and I hope that the American people will get the truth. Now I want to hear from you. Is there anyone else I forgot in this list? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you like this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future videos. I have to let you know that my channel continues to struggle with demonetization and shadow bans. Unfortunately, I don't have all the resources as Fox News, but I'm doing my best to report on the truth. If you like these videos, consider signing up for a monthly membership to support the channel on my website, wolvesandfinance.com. For $6 a month, your support helps me to keep making these videos. I'm Zach from Wolves and Finance. Thank you for watching.